We are Brad and Tammy Churchill, and we'll start by just giving you a little bit of our story, our beginnings. Brad and I are both from Minnesota, and grew up in going to the same, our families went to the same Lutheran church. We're high school sweethearts. We were confirmed at the church, and then when it was time, we got married at our Lutheran church. And it was just, our families just went to church every Sunday, and it was just part of our life. And I guess we knew that when we got married and had our own family, that was what we were going to continue to do. So we moved to West Des Moines in 1998, and we had our oldest daughter at that time. She was just an infant, and we were looking for churches, and we heard about Lutheran Church of Hope. And so we went there a couple weekends and found out that was the church that we liked, and have been members ever since for 26 years. I would say our participation in church kind of varied depending on which stage of life we were in. When we had, we have 3 children, Maddie, Trevor, and Ellie. And when they were doing children's ministry, back then it was called WOW and KQ for Kingdom Quest, we would be more involved. You know, we'd be their shepherds and help out at Vacation Bible School, and they all went through confirmation. So it was just kind of depending on what stage of life we were in, how involved we were. We did take some classes. We went through the Alpha course. We've been participants in the course, and various times we've hosted throughout the years. We ended up with our first Alpha group. We ended up becoming a small group, and have been, we're together for many, many years, from watching our children being born to now they are college graduates. So we've been together for many, many years. And also we've taken some other studies through the church. We did Purpose-Driven Life and the Dream Givers.
Yep. And I guess that's kind of where my story picks up a little bit. In 2004, our small group took a class called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson in the West Des Moines campus. And basically what that is a book of, taking, the ordinary person and walking them through kind of their big dreams of what God has laid on their heart. And coming out of that, I knew I wanted to own the company that built the final phase of Lutheran Church of Hope West Des Moines. So in 2004, having 3 young kids, a brand new house, I quit my job. I knew it was the right thing to do. Tammy and I had talked quite a bit about it. Quit my job, started up a construction company with the sole purpose of building the final phase of the church. In 2006, 2007, we were able to accomplish our goal. Although the church turned out wonderful, financially it was pretty tough on the company. We were a small company at the time, probably a little bit bigger job than what we should have taken on, but just felt it was right. Got through the building of it, hanging on by a thread, I would say, as far as the company. And I still remember Chris Ganneri called me up. If you've ever been to West Des Moines, they have that big wooden cross in the very front. That was actually built in Grimes and donated by one of the members. Chris Ganneri called me up and asked if we would, help him out, get a crane out there to hoist it, move it, put it in the building. And, I'm thinking we're already in about as deep as I want to go, but I said, okay, we'll do it. And literally as we set the cross down on the trailer to move it to West Des Moines, I got a phone call, and we picked up a big industrial project in Illinois and literally made probably 7-fold the amount of money we had lost building the church. And from that point on, I knew that was the right decision, to follow God, trust Him no matter what, and put your faith in front of everything else. We've been fortunate enough to build Ankeny. We've built Grimes here. We built the second phase of Ankeny. Recently did some work up in Ames. And we are looking forward to building the addition onto Grimes and hopefully the addition onto West Des Moines as well. So And that was just purely, by following faith, and just doing the right thing, following what God lays on your heart. And that's really the biggest thing that I love about Hope, is it just gives us those opportunities.
All of our three kids had gone through confirmation. And so I would say that our participation in church probably slowed down a little bit, just because, we didn't, the kids weren't involved in any of the student ministry or anything like that. So I would say we were kind of what you'd maybe call weekend warriors. We'd always went to church on Sundays, but that was kind of it. We went to church Sunday, got our bucket filled, and then we would coast along through the week, thinking that it was all on us and we could handle it, and then go to church on Sunday, do it all over again. And then that's changed on May 8th, 2017. That was the day that I knew that I needed Jesus in my life more than what I was giving him. And that was because that day was the day that we lost our only son, our middle child, our 16-year-old Trevor, to suicide. And to say that doesn't throw your life into a crisis, nothing will. It wasn't something that we expected. We never thought that would happen to our family, that we would have to deal with anything like that. But we did. And luckily, through our friends, our church group, our families, the church, all came up and supported us and prayed on us and guided us. We had to plan Trevor's celebration of life, and that was something Brad and I had never even thought of doing, because we've never had a significant loss before. So when you're trying to do that for your 16-year-old son, it's pretty hard. But everyone was there helping us and supporting us, and we made it through. And then about 2 weeks after losing Trevor, our family had gone home, and our oldest daughter at that time was a freshman in college, and Ellie was an eighth grader at that time. And it was just time to get back to normal, whatever normal looks like after losing your son. And it was tough. My heart was broken. It was physical pain, emotional pain. Every day getting out of bed was hard. And I knew I needed to be there for Maddie and Ellie and Brad, and I knew I had to be strong, but it was just, I didn't imagine how I could continue having to face this pain every single day for the rest of my life. And I was just thinking, how can I get through? What is going to help me get through? It was at that time I knew I needed to pray to the Lord, and he had to help me. The burden that I was carrying was too great, and I knew that I couldn't do it by myself. So I just prayed, and I just asked the Lord, told the Lord that he knew what I was feeling. He knew how much I hurt, and I just asked him to help carry the burden. And I went to bed that night, and the next day I woke up and I felt so much lighter. I felt like I could take a deep breath. The weight on my shoulders was gone, and I knew God was helping me, and he was carrying the load for me.
There's two distinct times that I absolutely know that God was with me during this event. One, at the time of Trevor's passing, I was actually down in Missouri with my parents and our oldest daughter. And, so 5 hours from home, my parents drove me back because there was no way I could drive. And I remember sitting in the back of the car just praying and praying and praying and, crying just uncontrollably. And all of a sudden I saw Trevor, literally standing in front of me, and, he just kept on saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And two just pure white arms kind of came out from behind him, hugged him, and kind of pulled him up to heaven. So I knew from there that he was with God. No matter what had happened, he was with God. And that was just such a great feeling. And then the second time that I really had to lean on God and he came through remarkably was when we were at the funeral home. We had to go see Trevor for the first time in the casket. And I remember walking up the stairs to the funeral home. I just figured there's just no way I can do this. Got to the room. I was just a mess. I was trying to be strong for my family and just laid my hands over Trevor's heart and said, God, just help me get through this. And literally like someone had just pulled a plug out of my heels. I just felt like this black, doom just run out of my body, onto the floor, and just suddenly felt, I don't want to say overjoyed because that's not really the right term, but just felt an absolute sense of calm and a sense of peace, that everything would be okay. So that had a very, very big impact on my life, and I'll never forget those moments, to know that God was absolutely with us.
So Trevor's been gone for 7.5 years now, and I've created new friendships and new acquaintances, and usually after they find out that I've lost a son, and they're surprised, and they comment about how they see so much joy in my life, and they see how positive my outlook is, and how friendly, and I try to make people happy and help them, and that's when I get the opportunity to tell them about how I was so broken and struggling and didn't know how I was going to go on. And then once I prayed to the Lord and asked him to carry my burdens for me, that's how I'm able to get through every day. My prayer life has changed. I have a daily prayer with the Lord, and the first thing I say to him is I thank him for continuing to carry the burden for me, because it's every day that he is there. And when I get to tell people that, that's my opportunity to tell them, ask them about their prayer life and their relationship with God, and I get to spread the word and ask them if they have a church home, and if they don't, I know a great one that they can go to, and they should come with me sometime. But the biggest thing that I am grateful for is that Jesus Christ died on the cross so that we may have everlasting life. And I know that Trevor is up in heaven preparing a place for me and for us, and I will get to see him again one day. And what a glorious day that will be.
I guess on looking back on all of this, it's just been amazing how much God has moved in our lives. I know even back from the first time that we stepped into Hope, way back in '98, they were actually going through their first giving campaign for the new West Des Moines campus. And through church they said, go home, pray about it, think about how much you want to give, and we took that seriously, and both Tammy and I prayed about it separately, and came up with a number, the same number, that we thought there's just no way. I mean, we can't do this. We've got young kids, we have a mortgage, we have student loans. I mean, tried to bargain with God, that didn't work out. So we just said, okay, let's just put our faith in God and do this. And it's amazing the amount of doors that he opened and the things that he made happen once we, listen and just give ourselves over to God and listen to what he wants out of our lives. So that's really the biggest thing that we've found here at Hope is, making those connections, have a lot of friends with the same types of connections, and that's really why we just love this as a home, our home church, and are excited to see this building expanded and bring new people in and new opportunities for people to just see how much the Lord can move in your lives the same way that Tammy and I have. Moving into the giving campaign for here in Grimes, like I said, church is so important. It's so important to the community, especially here at Hope, because Hope has such a wonderful way of connecting people to God. And, to expand the building, to expand the ministry, to bring in new people, to have the space, to me is just a phenomenal way. I know we'll pray about it again, and whatever God puts on our heart, I know we're just going to go for it, because we absolutely trust that, even if we think it's impossible, with God behind you, we know for a fact that anything is possible. So are just looking forward to it, and hopefully we can, we'll be out here, the company will be out here building a new addition on to Hope. So support the community, support all that are here, and bring more people to God. So just want to say thank you very much for prayerfully considering what we're trying to build here, and thank you for all your past support.